Hi everyone, myself Abdul Rafi and I am here with the topic clocks. Clocks is a part of an aptitude and we can expect a minimum of one question from these clocks in any competitive exam. So let us go into the topic. If you see here, this is a basic view of a clock which is of circular shape. In any clock, we consist of a minute hand, a hour hand and a seconds hand. Including these three hands, we are having 12 hour divisions and 60 minute divisions in every clock. So let us see what are the concepts related to these clocks and how the question can be asked in the exam. The first type of question which could be asked in the exam is the number of degrees covered by an hour hand or a minute hand or a seconds hand. The number of degrees covered by a hour hand can be calculated in this way. As I said earlier, the clock is of circular in shape. The time taken by one hour hand to complete one complete revolution, which is of 360 degrees, is 12 hours. That is, the time taken by a hour hand to complete one revolution is 12 hours. If we equate these 360 degrees to 12 hours, by calculating in these steps, we can get the number of degrees covered by a minute hand, the number of degrees covered by a hour hand is of half a degree for 1 minute. This means for 1 minute of time, the hour hand covers half the degree in this circle of clock. The next one is the number of degrees covered by a minute hand. I already said we are having three hands, a hour hand and a minute hand and the seconds hand. We have seen the number of degrees covered by a hour hand is half a degree for 1 minute. So if we coming to the minute hand, as usual like hour hand, the time taken by the minute hand to complete one complete revolution in this circle, which is 360 degrees, is 1 hour. The time taken by the minute hand to complete a one revolution in a clock is 1 hour. If we equate these 360 degrees to 1 hour, we can get the number of degrees covered by a minute hand is 6 degrees for 1 minute. Similarly, if you take the number of degrees covered by a seconds hand is, as usual like a hour hand and a minute hand, the time taken by the second hand to complete 360 degrees in this circle is 1 minute. That is, the time taken to complete one revolution by the seconds hand is 1 minute, and by calculating in this way we can get the time taken or the number of degrees covered by a seconds hand in 1 second is of 6 degrees. As we learned, the number of degrees covered by a hour hand is 30 degrees for 1 hour, and the number of degrees covered by a minute hand is 6 degrees for 1 minute, and the number of degrees covered by a seconds hand is 6 degrees for 1 second. Now let us see how the question can be asked from this concept. So the question is like this: the number of degrees covered by a hour hand for 6 hours and 20 minutes. I repeat the question. The number of degrees covered by a hour hand for 6 hours and 25 minutes. And we have to solve the problem in this way. As the given time is 6 hours and 20 minutes, as we know that the number of degrees covered by a hour hand for 1 hour is 30 degrees. Just multiply this 30 degrees into 6, as the given problem is for 6 hours, and the number of degrees covered by a hour hand for 1 minute is half a degree, just multiply the 20 with the half degree, as the given question is for 20 minutes, and the final answer by solving this is 190 degrees. Just sum up 6 hours plus 20 minutes, which would give the answer as 190 degrees. Now the second question is the number of degrees covered by minute hand for 35 minutes. As we know that the number of degrees covered by minute hand for 1 minute is 6 degrees. Just multiply the given 35 minutes into 6 to get the number of degrees covered by minute hand. And the answer is like this. I represent the minute hand as mH, and the given the time is 35 minutes. So we can obtain the answer as 35 into 6, which represents 6 degrees as for 1 minute. So the answer would be 210 degrees. Now see the other question. The number of degrees covered by a seconds hand for 17 seconds. Now we can get the answer. The given time period is for 17 seconds. We know that the number of degrees covered by a second hand for 1 second is 6 degrees. Simply multiply this 17 into 6 and we can obtain an answer as 102. These are the basic or the simple concepts or the simple type of questions can be asked from the clock. Now moving on to the other concept. The next concept is to find out the angle between two hands. As I said earlier, we are having three hands, a minute hand and a hour hand and a second hand. As the second hand is revolving continuously in the clock, now we have to find the angle between the hour hand and the minute hand. As if the second hand is revolving continuously, there is no question of finding out the angle between a second hand and any other hand. The only question comes the angle between a minute hand and the second hand. Now let us see how we can find out the angle between a minute hand and the second hand. Let the angle between the two hands as theta degrees, and the formula to calculate the value of the angle between the two hands can be given by theta equal to modulus of 11 by 2 m minus 30h. This m represents the number of minutes given in the problem for a period of time, and this h represents the number of hours given in the problem. By solving a problem, you can clearly understand the use of this formula and the use of this formula in calculating the the angle between the two hands. By using this formula, if we get the answer greater than 180 degrees, you have to subtract the obtained answer which is of greater than 180 degrees from a number 360 degrees to get the final answer. I repeat once again, the angle between the two hands can be obtained by using this formula. If the answer obtained from this formula is greater than 180 degrees, the thing you have to do is the obtained answer should be subtracted from the number which is of 360 degrees to obtain the final answer. As we have learned the formula for finding out the angle between the two hands in a clock, that is the angle between the hour hand and the minute hand, the problem would be like this. Find the angle between the hour hand and the minute hand for the clock showing the time of 4 hours and 35 minutes. We already know the formula to find the angle between the two hands, that is theta equal to 11 by 2 m minus 30h. As I already told you, m in this formula represent the minutes given in the problem, and h in this formula represents the hours given in the problem. Now substitute the value of m which is 35 minutes given in the problem, and the value of h, which is 4 hours given in the problem. By substituting these values in the formula theta equal to modulus of 11 by 2 m minus 30 h, that is equal to 11 by 2 into 35 minus 30 into 4, which results 72.5 degrees, or we can represent 72 half a degree in this way. And the main purpose of placing this modulus is, without this modulus you can get a negative answer also. So as in clock there is no question of negative answers, you have to place a modulus so that you can neglect the negative symbol and the answer could be taken as a positive one. Now let us see the another model of asking question. The second question goes like this: the angle formed between two hands, that is hour hand and minute hand, is 75 degrees and the minute hand is showing as 30 minutes. Find the exact time shown in the clock. In this question we have asked to find the time shown by the clock by giving the angle between the two hands. This is another type of the problem in which the angle between the two hands is given in before, and the problem would be like this: to find the exact time shown in the clock. So the given angle between the two hands is 75 degrees as in the problem, and the given minutes is 30 minutes, and now we have to find the exact time in the problem. Now by using the formula theta equal to 11 by 2 m minus 30 h under modulus and substituting the value of 75 degrees and the 30 minutes in the formula, we get the respective hours hand is on the number 8 hours, and by including the 30 minutes the exact time shown by this clock is 8 hours and 30 minutes. In this way the problems on the concept of angle between the two hands